Good afternoon. Welcome to the Creative Spirit Center in Midland, Michigan. It's a fine day here for a poetry reading. Actually, every day is a fine day for a poetry reading. And I am Larry Levy. I've been invited graciously by the good people here at Creative Spirit Center to read some of my poetry, and I'm happy to do it. The poems I'm going to read are from a latest collection called Blessed Arrangement, published by Atmosphere Press. I'll say a word about the book and other books later, but first I'd like to just read some selections from Blessed Arrangement. It went off in a slightly different direction for me. A lot of poems about politics. Most of these were written in the last 4 years. Here's a poem called At the Polling Place. I read the pledge in English and Espanol as well. Can name the 50 states, likewise each capital. I can reasonably recite the Gettysburg Address, treasure life and liberty, the pursuit of happiness. I know the 45 presidents by rote, and no one may deprive me of my precious vote. It's a poem called Board Meeting. To hell with polar bears, their cubs in dugout dens. To hell with satanic fires, we are businessmen. Fuel brewing beneath this frost, we siphon to the top. Regardless of the cost, oil's our cash crop, our communion bread, our sacramental wine. Some dolphins may be dead, but God's elect are fine. More than fine. We're proud to resist, to stand alone. To hell with the science crowd. We rule our spinning stone. A poem called Indelible in the Hippocampus. Clearing throats and tabletop clutter, 11 gentlemen straighten their ties, tap their pencils, sip bottled water. It would help your cause if you do not stutter, says the chairman, and meet our eyes. They perceive before them a wounded daughter. She gathers memories, sits up straight. One listener, inhaling, sighs. One consults a cell that cannot wait. Are you certain the accused was there? Are you certain what you said you meant? I am certain 100%. But you were unclear about when and where. You know how it ended, how it began. But perhaps it was a different man? To what degree, then, can you swear it was him, and without consent? I am certain 100%. Did anyone wrestle with his doubts? The chair closes debate and counts the votes, so it is settled. And so they went each into his handheld phone, noting who approved and what they spent to claim this victory as their own. There's a poem called Because, for the children. He cannot see them, though they are there right in front of him, huddled on the floor like a litter of pups. Stray socks in a drawer, mismatched, dark faces, dark hair, eyes barely open, red with grime. Voices from crying and not being heard, silenced to a whisper. A croak from a bird, blown from the nest. Day and night the same, world without end, endless confinement without sun, without blue or green or breeze. And this by decree, by design more than callous, more than malignant, because he will not see, is more than content with how things are, because he is fine. A poem called Packing. This is in this morning's news, this video clip of a hawk-faced guy wearing neither shirt nor shoes. He is firing into the evening sky to arrest the stranger's attention, especially this nearby kid, flinching low as if, as in Hollywood, this posture would redirect the bullet's blow to his cranium. Now the barrel aimed at the heart has nothing to discuss. End of story. And this is the moral. This is our street, and you are not us. Those poems represent the first section of Blessed Arrangement. There are two other sections, poems on a different tone, a different theme. Here's one of them, Almost 11 Years. She no longer sat at the kitchen door. When put out, she mostly slept under the lilac, under the step. No gift of rodent anymore lay waiting for us in the dawn, a trophy from her midnight hunt. A foundling, a long-haired runt we'd bathed until the fleas were gone. Now, she didn't speak, didn't complain. She ignored the nuggets in her dish. We tried beef, a bit of fish. Both ended in the compost bin, and in a week were gone to dust. And when she died, as all cats must, we shoveled through the crust of ice and lay her, weightless, in. Next morning, I expected her to greet me coming down the stairs, or later, curled on my chair, a cloud of gray electric fur. A companion poem called All Kitten Behavior is Hunting Behavior, which is a quotation from a fine book called The Tribe of Tiger by E.M. Thomas. Having lost the cat beloved for a decade, we visited the shelter, cages stacked high. In one, a large tabby, beginning to fade, slumped in a corner, no longer spry or interested or truly awake. Such a pet didn't make much sense, more like a rumpled pillow, lacking wonder and innocence. We noticed 2 8-week kittens, littermate brothers, wobbling around on black and white mittens. When lifted, they weighed nothing, but presented their faces, forlorn, pleading. At home, after a day learning the ropes, they were reborn, stalking our curtains like jungle prey. Here's a poem that also offers a quotation, Come Live With Me and Be My Love, from a poem by Philip Marlowe. On a mountain once, I saw giant birds, great green macaw, eating mountain almonds raw. One of the most wondrous things I've seen. Through the palms, 13, morning blue, Caribbean green. Strangest was one's chiseled beak, But stranger still, an electric shriek she telegraphed from peak to peak, an oath to her monogamy. Come to my mountain almond tree, she seemed, I swear, to speak to me. You know, I could not duplicate any vow to be her mate, but she was green, and she was great. Season of Mists, title borrowed from John Keats, To Autumn. This morning we close and lock the windows, set the thermostat, flip the furnace on. We remove summer sheets, cover the pillows with flannel, spread a comforter, billowy with down. Our bushes blaze before losing their leaves. Our cats stalk stink bugs that want indoors, hunting less of their nights and daily lives, more of it dozing on warmer floors. Darkness unwelcome arrives before dinner. Dawn takes its sweet time re-entering the room. We grow fat like bears while days grow thinner, the basement, the couch, becoming home. Reluctantly, in layers, we leave our lairs. We travel less often up and down the stairs. And finally, the title poem, the last one in the book, Blessed Arrangement, is titled That Blessed Arrangement. Some of you may know or hear an echo there from the line delivered in a different tone in the movie Princess Bride. The strangest newspaper item yet, a man keeping an alligator for a pet. He claimed she alleviated his anxiety at home, if not in polite society. He enjoyed the music when she hissed, was cheaper than a psychiatrist. But what his condo manager fears is when a neighbor disappears. Colleagues over for a shot and a song never linger very long. I ask, why not a pup or parakeet? One can pounce, the other tweet. Can't other creatures be of service, addressing your nature to be nervous? Gossips could not comprehend such devotion to his reptilian friend, her shining claws and sighing snout. An uncommon marriage, I do not doubt. But as they say, one person's meat, well done or rare, is another's mate. Why should he care what people suppose? Love may be wiser than anyone knows. So those are all selections from Blessed Arrangement. I think I will share with you a few poems that have appeared in earlier books. Earlier books include a book called What Outlives Us, a book called All the Dead Are Holy, a book called I Would Stay Forever If I Could, by a different publisher, Mayapple Press, and an earlier edition, I Would Stay Forever If I Could. The second one is an expanded edition. And just 3 poems I'll share with you, very much drawn from personal experience. This one's called First Date at the L&K. She sits across from him in the booth, taking small bites of a cinnamon bun, steaming between them. She sips her milk while he reads his poem about Michael Fury, the Irish boy who died for love. Well, this one's different, she thinks. He isn't trying to get me drunk, and so far his green eyes look into mine as if he believes I understand Joyce. It's almost 11 p.m., and they're starting to put the empty chairs on top of the tables, and the waiter is mopping the floor, back by the telephone and restrooms. A few cars drive slowly by in the dark, but her mind is racing with something substantial here, something transparent. Who is he really, this boy whose hamburger is getting cold while he reads? Maybe she'll marry him. She already asks him with her eyes to be for her what she thinks he is, one who will talk with her in the dark. Maybe they'll be married for decades. Does she have any idea what she silently offers him? Yes, she thinks. I will. Yes. Finally, a couple of poems that appear in earlier books based on my grandson and granddaughter, Drew and Maddie, things I've witnessed with them. One poem, watching Drew as a little boy playing youth soccer. A poem called Champions. While parents huddle in folding chairs, boys warm their cleats, first right then left, their bodies all rubber bands, their feet deft with the ball. They are good at making noise, high-pitched fox yips in the morning air. Now they move into sunlight, legs bare from the hem to the knees. They are all in black and feel mean, scooting along the pitch from line to line without stumbling, without slipping on the freeze that settled overnight on the grass and stands where moms clutch mugs in both hands, exhaling clouds of pleasure, of praise, while dads bark, "Get your head in the game." Then the smallest, leaping, boots one home, and the referee whistles autumn days to a close. The boys laugh at every bruise, believing they will never lose. And finally here, Friday walking home. She found a pine sprig, a cone, and one dandelion ablaze, alone under the gooseberry, a prickly spot. And lying dead in violets, what may have been a mouse or mole, paw prints nearby its hole. She thought on all of this a while. Do blossoms and berries have a soul, as she'd heard about all living creatures? Was the world God's, or was it nature's? She plopped pebbles in a shallow pool, wondering if the world was kind or cruel. Or maybe things happened just because. Maybe without reasons, it just was. She cradled a blue and broken shell to discuss on Monday during show and tell. And I think I will end with one that has not been published, that I wrote last summer, dedicated to a friend, a COVID nurse, called Stratford Pond, Summer 2020. Every day the elderly, children too, gasp a final breath, the ward pulsing with helpless ventilators, the sighs of caretakers. She stares at the ceiling, exhaling, but there is no more sleep. In solitude, she is least alone. I go to the park on the edge of town with its volleyball court and picnic shelter, a dirt path around an oblong lake, a few people fishing off a dock, someone older teaching someone younger how to properly bait a hook, to cast a line. A few people on the beach, a kid with a bucket, a kid wading and splashing, a couple on their blanket, sun on their backs. Life going on, a puppy tugging on a leash, the place otherwise empty, maybe a ripple on the water, a rustle in the trees. I walk the sand to my familiar spot, a certain tree, a few sprigs of grass, remove my hat, sunglasses, shirt, look to the opposite shore, dive under the rope and buoys, the water shimmery, translucent. In a few strokes, I find a rhythm rotating to inhale, to exhale. Effortless long strokes, smooth pull. Each morning, all summer, until finally the vast sky grows cloudy, cooler, and one day the green water is so cold, I know this is my last swim for a while, that I will have to find another place to be quiet and to breathe. Thank you. If anybody would be interested in acquiring any of these books, they're available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble websites. You could also find me on Facebook. You could message me. I'd be happy to send a discounted copy inscribed to you. So thank you for joining me. Thank you to Creative 360 for allowing me to present to you these poems.